He's a little bit country. He's a little bit rock and roll. He's a little bit polka, death metal, abstract jazz, and German industrial techno. He's Scott Leffler. He's not allowed near the stereo at parties.
Hey, hi, how you doing? Scott here. No, really, I swear to God. It's Monday, March 19th, 2018, 8 o'clock or so, and I'm really here with a brand new show. I know I haven't done this in quite a while, and my apologies for that, but I'm going to try and get better about that. In fact, tonight's show is the first of what is going to be a new format for the show. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to kick things off with a little bit of me bantering about whatever it is that I'm interested in today. And then next Monday it'll be whatever I'm interested in next Monday, et cetera, et cetera. Then we're going to have a short break, and I'm going to play. So one of the many things that I've been doing, the thing that's been keeping me away from doing live talk shows, is that I've been doing voiceover work for YouTube videos, et cetera. Well, in doing that, I decided, you know what, Scott, I should really have my own YouTube channel. And I talk to myself just like that. I call myself by my first name. It's really awkward, but, you know, it's whatever. So I have a YouTube channel that I would like you to check out, and it's called Here's the Thing, just like the name of this show. Convenient, isn't it? So I'm going to do my opening bit, which is this. Then I'm going to take a short break, play a 2-minute audio from my YouTube video. And then I have an interviews lined up. And tonight's interview is with Greg, Burt, and Ashley Hoffman from For the Music Productions. And they're going to talk about, you know, putting concerts together and, you know, crazy stories that they have, whatever it is they talk about. They're going to talk about that. Then we'll take another break. I'll play some more audio from another YouTube video. Now, I do really want you to check out the YouTube videos themselves because there is, you know, images and video to go along with it. Although, you know, the audio part of it pretty much encapsulates what I'm going after. But check out the YouTube channel. I'll put a link to the channel itself in the description of this when I put it on the podcast, which I will also do tonight. So show, podcast, YouTube videos, just all sorts of crazy stuff coming from Scott Leffler. So tonight's show, we've got, I want to talk about the St. Patrick's Day Parade, then YouTube, then Greg and Ash, then YouTube, and then we'll close out with something different. I don't know. You know how... let me see if I can find a bird war story. By the way, so I already know next week we're going to have Tom Proctor on the show. Tom is an old friend of mine. He's been a guest on the show before. He's coming into studio here at... in the All West New York Radio Studios, 1625 Buffalo Avenue in beautiful Niagara Falls, New York. I recently moved studios, by the way. I was up on the 3rd floor overlooking the Niagara River. Now I'm on the 2nd floor, and I overlook the casino. I kind of liked the view better before, but this office is so much better. It's about twice the size. And the entire office is encapsulated in foam. So, 1, I can't hurt myself nearly as easily. And 2, the sound quality should be a little bit better, which is really something that I wanted for my voiceover clients because, again, voiceovers is what's been taking up most of my time, which is why you haven't heard from me nearly as much. I'm going to try to put an end to that. More updates with this show. Want to do it weekly. Also, I hope the plan is, I've got some plans set in motion, that the website is going to be updated more frequently. Now, by the website, I mean allwestnewyorkradio.com and allwestnewyorknews.com. I got a couple things in the works that should make those updated more frequently with event stories and news and crime and etc. Everything, boom. It's going to be the website that I wanted it to be that I haven't had the time to do. And one of the ways that I'm going to make that happen is I'm not going to be the one doing it. I've got a couple people that I'm talking to about actually maintaining the content on the website so that it's updated more regularly so that you have the news that you need and the information about the events that you want to go to, this, that, yakety schmackety, boom. Events. Speaking of events, so yesterday was not St. Patrick's Day, but yesterday was like second St. Patrick's Day. Obviously, Saturday was St. Patrick's Day, and I went to Buffalo, met up with some friends. We went to... what's the name of it? Roaming Bison. I was going to say Flying Bison, but that wasn't it. Roaming Bison on Hurdle Avenue, which is actually like right across the street from my post office. P.O. Box 716, that's All West New York Radio's P.O. Box. If you ever want to send us hate mail, and you don't want to do it by email, but you actually want to like write it out, send it there. All West New York Radio, P.O. Box 716, Buffalo, New York 14207. So right across the street, well, not directly across, but pretty much right across the street from that is Roaming Bison. So we went there, and I had this Reuben burger that was just incredible. So basically, it's a cheeseburger with like a Reuben on top. Not exactly, but it's a cheeseburger with corned beef and sauerkraut and Thousand Island dressing, and it was on a pretzel roll. It was incredible. So we went there. Then I got a room at the Hotel Henry for the weekend. Went and checked into the room. Then we went to Adolph's, Old First Ward Tavern. And then we walked to McCarthy's, which was a longer walk than I thought it was. In my head, it was a much shorter walk, but in actuality, it was a longer walk. Anyway, so we walked to McCarthy's, had a blast at Adolph's, had a blast at McCarthy's, ate all the food, drank all the beer. All in all, great night. However, funny story, when we went to leave McCarthy's, I got an Uber to take me back to my hotel and to take my friends back to their home. And the Uber said it was going to be like 6 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool. So we went outside. We were waiting for the Uber. And like 10 minutes later, I'm like, where the hell's my Uber? I look on my phone and it says, you're on your way. As in, like, the Uber had already picked me up and was taking me to my hotel, except that I was not in the Uber. So had to call another Uber. Fortunately, that all got worked out. Didn't take that much longer. Got back to the hotel, did hotel things, got some sleep eventually, woke up the next morning, and went to the parade, which was awesome as always. Watched it from a different location than usual. Usually I watch it on like the corner of Allen Street, which is where everybody watches it. This year watched it near West Huron because friends had a hotel there. So we watched it there. It was kind of cool because we got to hear the announcer guy who was really, really, really excited about Channel 4. So, like, I think it was Channel 4. Channel 4 or Channel 2? I think he was really excited about Channel 4. Anyway, so we got to watch the parade and then did, the other St. Patrick's Day stuff. We went to Union Pub, which is the old Irish Times across the street from Coca-Cola Field. Drank all the beer there. Then we went somewhere else and ate. And I don't know. St. Patrick's Day, it's all a blur. Long story short, I'm back at it today, back in studio, doing this show. Happy to do it. And that's my life. That's my life. That's how it is. If you want to let me know your thoughts, you did something awesome for St. Patrick's Day, let me know via Twitter, @ScottLeffler. That's how you can get a hold of me, via Twitter. Actually, you can get a hold of me, in a variety of ways, but that's probably the easiest. And then you can, put it out there so everybody can see it. So you can be like, Scott, you're an asshole. And then everybody knows that you think I'm an asshole. And that's okay, because I kind of am an asshole. But all that said, we want to get to this interview that I've got with Greg and Ash. And but first we're going to do the YouTube, and then following YouTube we'll do Greg and Ash. Following Greg and Ash, YouTube. Following that, we'll close thing up. And while this YouTube video is playing, I'm going to find a bird war story to talk about to close out the day. So you're listening to Here's the Thing on All Western New York Radio. I'm Scott Leffler, and you'll hear my voice again in just like a minute. You're going to get sick of me. It's good. It's a good thing. Thanks. Depending on your political persuasion, fake news might be a punchline or a core belief. Having spent the majority of my life with either reporter or editor as my title, I'm inclined to believe the news, depending on where it comes from, of course. But here's the thing, I'm firmly in the minority. In fact, a recent Gallup poll found that just 25% of people trust newspaper reporters, and only 23% trust TV reporters. But there were other professions people trust even less. Yes, the annual study of Who Do You Trust has once again put the press towards the bottom of the list. And for the 16th straight year, nurses came out on top with 82%. So, who else was on that list? Overall, a majority of Americans in the poll rated 6 professions as high or very high for honesty and ethical standards. In addition to nurses, that includes military officers, grade school teachers, medical doctors, police officers, and pharmacists. The honesty rating of pharmacists, although still high on an absolute basis, dropped 5 points since last year and is at its lowest point since 1994, possibly reflecting the current nationwide opioid crisis. After those 5 professions, it's a pretty steep decline, with judges and clergy garnering a 43% and 42% trustworthiness rating, respectively. Another sharp drop after that gives us those reporters we already mentioned, plus bankers at 25%, local office holders at 24%, lawyers and business execs at 18 and 16% respectively, and then members of Congress at 11%, and lobbyists coming in at a mere 8%. So, who do you trust? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to share this with your friends to find out who they trust.
Ladies and gentlemen, today, the role of Scott Leffler will be played by that crazy guy down the street that's always yelling at kids to get off his lawn.
And on today's show, we've got Greg Burt of For the Music Productions and Ashley Hoffman, also love FTMP. And they're here in All West New York Radio's brand new studio.
Woot woot.
Yay, us.
It's pretty.
And we're just going to kind of talk about some things they've got going on. Because, Greg, I'm just looked at your Facebook page, and you have, so there's this thing with, like, your shows in March and April, and there's, like, 473 things here, which is really confusing because there's only, like, 61 days. So I know you try to keep busy, but let's just start with the question that I've been trying to figure out for a couple of years now, at least. How the hell do you do this?
I work. I'm always doing something. I don't know.
But, like, you don't just do this, of course.
Right.
You also write a column.
Yeah.
You also, have a quote-unquote real job.
Both of them.
Yeah, you do, don't you? You have two real jobs.
Yep.
One in music and one not in music, but I'm sure you cater to a lot of musicians.
Okay.
You don't think so?
I sell them groceries.
Right. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. One job.
Yeah.
Those are other things. There's also other things, but yeah.
And I feel like the All West New York Radio family, that's kind of true. Like, everybody's got, like, all right, so I have a job that pays money, and then I have a job that I kind of want to be my job, but it doesn't pay money, but I do it anyway, and I treat it like a full-time job. And then I have other things that I do on top of that. I feel like, generally speaking, the folks that work with All West New York Radio have more hours in the day than the rest of the people. Except you, Ash, you just don't sleep.
No.
Actually, you don't sleep much either, do you, Greg? Because I know that, like, I message you at, like, 3 in the morning, you message back, or I message you at 9 in the morning, you message back, and...
It depends on the day. Sometimes I sleep at night, sometimes I sleep during the day, wherever it fits.
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing. People can't figure out my schedule, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Because, it makes it really difficult to hire the snipers, because they never know if I'm going to be awake, or if I'm going to be out, or what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
So, FTMP.
Yeah.
March, April, you guys have got some things coming up. What are you most looking forward to? He gets out his phone because they're. Right, so I exaggerated a little bit with the 478, but I'm looking at basically there's a show at least like every third day.
We usually average about 3 a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes there's less. Sometimes we have 2 in a day, sometimes we don't have any in a week. But that's usually our average, is about 3 a week. Biggest one coming up.
I do feel like I get an email from you at least daily with a new show announcement.
Not daily.
At least daily. I think I got 4 from you today.
No.
I feel like I did. Oh, you know what it might be? I have several different email accounts.
Yes.
That could do it.
Yes.
All right.
So you're getting the same announcement 4 times.
And maybe it just seems to me like Greg is busier than he is because he's constantly emailing me. I'm like,
Richie Ramone from the Ramones is coming here. It's going to be really cool.
Actually, it's funny. I got an email from you today while you were on your way here. And I'm like, what the hell? Like,
you can schedule things.
Yeah. I
don't have to touch it.
Understood.
I learned that one. It took me a little bit.
So, of the shows that are coming up, what are you most looking forward to?
Richie's coming up pretty soon, which is going to be a really good one.
Richie Ramone?
Yep.
Of the Ramones?
Yes. One of the drummers. And
cool.
One of the only remaining members that's still alive at this moment. So.
Anybody with the name Ramone, I'm in. I'm cool.
Yeah.
How can you dislike a Ramone?
That's going to be awesome. Over at Mohawk Place, March 20th. After that, Suicidal on March 29th, which is original members of Suicidal Tendencies performing music from the first 2 Suicidal Tendencies albums.
Right.
Should be really good. Over at Stamps. That one's almost sold out.
A lot of bands do that. Like, they start and then, like, they break up, so then you end up with 2 of the same bands.
Sort of. Yeah. Like, we've done away from the Misfits. We have Michael Graves and the Misfits coming, but the Misfits do the same thing.
Right.
There's the new Misfits and there's the old Misfits.
Right.
Which is cool, because then you got 2 to see.
It's like the Flintstones and Jetsons.
Yeah.
Or something.
Pretty much.
Same thing, 2 different shows.
Right.
I mean, we got other stuff. Grendel Aesthetic Perfection will be real good April 8th. If you're into the industrial stuff.
I am into industrial stuff, but I'm unfamiliar with Grendel.
Grendel is from overseas.
Australia, I believe.
I feel like most industrial is from overseas, though.
Yeah.
Like I know you did the pig show at Evening Star.
Yep. That's
which
where
was an
Grendel's
awesome
coming.
show.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had so much fun.
Grendel is there as well.
Yep. Started
Really?
back in
Yep.
1997.
Well, I liked everybody there, so I must just not remember the name.
But he's on Metropolis Records, big label in the U.S. Also on Infected Records out overseas. But he's been doing it for a long time. And his newest release, Age of the Disposable Body, is what he's supporting, which was released this past year in 2017. But he hasn't done a show in, like, the U.S. in 10 years or something.
Huh.
It's been a long time since he's been here, so that's going to be real cool. Yeah.
Now, what type of music do you like?
Everything.
What type of music do you listen to when no one's around?
When I'm just putting something on to listen to,
Bieber.
no.
When no one's around.
Usually my go-tos are like Brand New and Manchester Orchestra.
Okay.
Or we'll go for like some old school emo. Like we got a Senseless Fail radio station on Google Play I've been listening to quite a bit, or Play Radio station.
Gotcha.
Death Cab for Cutie. Guess that kind of stuff.
Death Cab for Cutie, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I don't like to get depressed on purpose, so
I do.
I try to ignore the Death Cab.
Nice.
I similarly listen to pretty much everything
grew up
except
an emo
country.
kid.
Like I'm not a fan of country, but other than that, like I'll listen to whatever. Like yesterday, I listened to Jesus Jones, Depeche Mode, The Bravery, and Drake. Those are the musicians that I specifically remember asking to listen to, because I don't.
Yeah.
I ask to listen to music, and Alexa just does what I want her to.
She's always listening, though.
She really is. So, did you see these stories like a week ago or so about like Alexa's laughing at people?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's a little creepy. Like I feel like that might be like a sign of things to come. I'm not really sure. I do worry a little bit about the whole home automation stuff. Watched X-Files 2 weeks ago, their episode. And basically Mulder and Scully like went out to dinner, and they went out to like this Chinese like sushi place, and everything was automated. And Mulder like didn't tip because they screwed up his order. So it was automated, but he got the wrong order.
Okay.
So he like didn't
This can
tip,
happen.
and then they basically tried to kill him. They like tried to lock him in the restaurant, and then there were like self-driving Uber type cars. They tried to like drive him off the road, and then he went home, and like drones came to like kill him, and
The future.
yeah. But I feel like it was supposed to be taking place now. It was a little odd, but I liked it.
But we're getting there. Like there's the automated McDonald's and stuff popping up,
Right?
starting.
We are getting
We're
there.
getting there. It's gonna happen.
I have the Echo, and I have at home I have a Google Play Mini. I also had one at the office, but I ended up giving it to Joe. Think so, Joe?
Yeah.
Because I never used it. Which is kind of a shame because I'm kind of a Google fanboy.
Yeah.
But I prefer the Echo,
Yeah.
like by a lot. So I have one here, I have one in my kitchen, I have one in my bedroom. And then of course it's on my phone and on my Kindle, and
Which it's weird. There was so much into like, NRA's gonna wiretap us. They're gonna know what we're saying, and then you just stick one of those in your
exactly.
house.
Yeah. So
But then like your phone can know where you are at all times, but if you call 911, they don't know where you are.
that is really funny. Yeah. So
Because they're not allowed to use that technology. Why is that okay? Anyways.
well, and then I have MoviePass. Are you familiar with MoviePass?
No.
It's like Netflix for going to the movies.
Okay.
It's a monthly subscription. It costs $10 a month. I can go to a movie a day.
Cool.
Wow.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
Except they recently announced that like they track you, like before you go to the movies and after you go to the movies, and like they don't currently, but they could sell that data. And so then like a couple days later, the CEO of Netflix or whatever was like, no. Like, I was saying hypothetically, that's not something we really do. The only time we track you is when you have the app open so that we know that you're close enough to the theater to get the tickets, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, the concept of privacy is not really a real thing anymore.
Right.
So, I don't know.
And then people get worried about certain things and not worried about that.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Like, I briefly considered canceling my Movie Pass membership, but then I decided that my lack of privacy was worth being able to see a movie a day.
Yep.
Although I don't actually go to see a movie a day. But I did see, not Black Swan.
Black Panther?
Nope, Red Sparrow. See what I did there? That's how my brain works. I did see Red Sparrow last week, and that was pretty cool. Although Jennifer Lawrence, who I think is hot, was not hot in this movie. That was very disappointing. If I go to see a movie with Jennifer Lawrence in it, I want her to look like Jennifer Lawrence. She did. I was disappointed.
Cool.
Nothing.
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, we call this dead air.
Haven't seen it. Sorry.
You don't have to have seen it. You could mention another movie. Or
I thought Jumanji. That was good.
I really
That's
liked
really
the new Jumanji. I wasn't
There's a
sure
really
if I
good
would
spin
or
on
not, but what's that?
There's a really good spin on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're going to remake it, it was kind of basically a remake, with new tech, that's definitely the way to do it.
Right.
So,
but it wasn't specifically like just remake it as it was.
Right.
It was make it its own thing.
Now, I wasn't sure going into it whether I'd like it or not because I get scared when they do that. They're talking about remaking Buffy.
Oh, no.
The TV show.
Oh, no.
And, I'm sorry, Buffy was perfect. Don't touch it. Don't remake it. Don't ruin Buffy. Because Buffy was perfect. So, yeah.
I watch cartoons on YouTube.
Yeah? What's your favorite cartoon?
Right now, it's just YouTube Red that I watch. But Rick and Morty, recently.
I've never seen Rick and Morty.
So
It's on my list of things to see.
Good.
I still haven't seen it.
You got to get Swifty.
Yeah. Now I also have YouTube Red. And I mentioned a while ago on my Facebook that, once a month I get a thing on my credit card statement for YouTube Red. And, every month I'm like, I don't have a subscription to, YouTube Red. Yes, that I do have. Yep. That one I have.
It.
What's that?
It's very worth it.
It is very worth it. But,
but I've mentioned it to people before.
I
and
keep
they're
thinking it's another website with Red and Tube in the name. And, that's not a thing that I subscribe to. So I'm confused. Well, every month I'm confused about why it's billing me. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not what that is. Okay, never mind.
It's not that site.
But then I had somebody at work being like, who pays for YouTube? Nobody pays for YouTube. And I'm like, but it's really cheap and it's really useful.
It really is. Well, because with my job, I watch YouTube videos all the time, for one reason or another. For example, I've got these videos that I'm doing for a client who they're kind of like TMZ style videos,
Okay.
Oh,
but they're all super current, and I'm learning that I'm old. So I did one the other day about a rapper named Lil Yachty.
Oh.
Okay.
So I had to
I believe it.
check it out because there were names of other rappers in there that I didn't know. I keep mispronouncing XXX Tentacion, which I just did it right there, but I keep mispronouncing it. And then the client emails me back and he's like, "You're an idiot. Why can't you get this right?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry. It's because I'm 40 something. Because his name is stupid. That's why I can't pronounce it." So yeah.
I've realized I only stay up on current events because I work with a lot of high school students and people just going into college.
Right.
So they're like, "Oh, you need to check this and this out," and I'm like, "Who? What?
Yeah.
What? No."
Yeah. Well, I mentioned that I listened to Drake yesterday. The reason I listened to Drake is because I did a video about Drake, and so then I ended up getting started from the bottom stuck in my head. So I'm and the best way to get something unstuck is to just play the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
I know Drake because Drake is our generation because of Degrassi.
Exactly.
So he's still wheelchair Jimmy to me.
I never watched Degrassi, but I'm familiar.
Yeah.
So.
Totally start from the bottom, right?
Oh, no. He doesn't know what the bottom is.
No, he has no idea what and actually, the video that I did was about, it was the top 10 reasons people hate Drake.
Yeah, and that's
one of them was that, like, he thinks that, like, the bottom is, like, upper middle class Toronto home. Because he grew up in Toronto in, like, a really nice house with, like, well-to-do parents. And
like his dad's a doctor
yeah,
or something.
and people are like, dude, you've never even seen the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea what the bottom looks like. You did not start there.
You've been famous since you were like 9.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the bottom?
Yeah.
Then what am I?
Yeah, I guess I'm hoping to get to the bottom someday. We'll get to the bottom of it.
And like, are we like the dirt under his feet or something?
We're something,
I
yeah,
don't know.
without a doubt.
I mean, we're funding him, so.
True.
Yeah, sort of. You know.
Yeah.
Last year, Greg, you had a show. I want to say at Evening Star, and it was a rapper who like then went and hosted SNL or was on SNL like a couple months later.
Was it Kasky?
No.
Kasky, we had rapper Big Pooh.
No.
I mean, we work with a lot of local hip hop rappers.
No, it wasn't local. It was a fairly big show.
Gotta give me a name.
I don't remember.
Those are the ones I can think of.
But like I'm watching SNL and I'm like, wait a minute, Greg brought the two to Niagara Falls. I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm thinking the one that Ponzo helped us with.
OJ the Juice Man.
No.
Oh.
I don't know either.
The time it'd take me to find it by scrolling through old events would be very hard.
Like last year, we did almost 200 events.
And you
in a
get
year.
you get some pretty big artists. I mentioned the Pig Show earlier. And to me, like, it doesn't get much. Like the only thing better than Pig would have just been KMFDM.
Yeah.
And I realized that it's basically the same thing, but not entirely.
Right.
But you get fairly big acts. How do you get them? Like where did you cultivate these relationships?
Like some of them started back with Insider Riot when I was doing stuff with Nick Ramirez. I was doing stuff with that before FTMB events started off, and he was starting to get a couple smaller acts, and we were building up. Eventually got Hawthorne Heights to come through at the end of it, and before they got known, we had 21 Pilots play at this Veterans Post out in Cheektowaga. So a couple of people I got kind of from there. A lot of it was just building on my own, starting to do shows and reaching out to people, and then working for the forum, doing like in-house booking over there.
Right.
Got a lot of more people like that I could talk to, because if you're a venue representative,
right,
you can start building a relationship with them.
Makes sense.
Like once that place closed down, I can continue doing shows with those people.
Cool. So.
And then more and more kind of grew from there.
And then I would imagine that like each bigger act brings the potential for a slightly bigger act. So at what point do you start booking Rich Stadium?
When I have the money for it.
New Era Field.
You got to put that money up.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So if I have the money to put up, I could do it.
All right, and on that note, I do know that there was a show last year that like, how do I put this delicately? You lost your ass on.
Yeah, there's been quite a few of those.
But if I recall correctly, there was one in particular that like you thought was going to go well that just did not go well at all.
I mean, it was cool to bring Marcy Playground here.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
I think that's the one, Fuel and Marcy Playground.
Yeah, we lost a lot on that.
Yeah.
But the guys were great.
So
a really good show.
I know after that show you kind of reassessed like how life was going to work, and it kind of looked like from the outside you were considering getting out of the game altogether. Was that the case, or did we just misinterpret? But I never saw a break. Like,
right.
you're like, I'm taking a break, and
I was going to take a break, and then it didn't happen.
And then honestly, like a day later, you're like, these are the shows coming up, and I'm like, dude, that's not a break. So did you basically just change your mind?
I took a break for like 2 days.
Literally.
It was.
I think
exactly
most people.
It was 2 days.
I think most people think of a break as a longer thing than that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the break was a lot more intensive.
Because it was like, if I can't afford to book an act, I can't bring them to town,
And that makes sense.
I kind of reached a rope where I was like, I don't have the money to put up for anything else until I can recover some. And then I recovered some. It's kind of what it turned into.
I know that
and then
you
it kind of turned around a little bit.
I know that somebody started like a GoFundMe for you at that time.
Yeah.
Get anywhere with that? No. I know you also got some hate from people that basically felt that, you know, this was your problem, and, you know, they were angry with you, it seemed, for admitting that you screwed up. You have these run-ins every once in a while with the internet that confuse the hell out of me, and this was one of them.
Makes
You
me feel
basically,
like I mean something.
you,
And I'm famous,
basically,
but I'm really not.
in this instance, you came to Facebook and you said, "Hey guys, I made a bad decision. I lost a bunch of money, and so I got to take a break." And
I was like, if you want to help, you can throw some money in. Up to you. Because
but you didn't even start with that.
Right.
That was like someone else suggested that, and then you're like, "Yeah, sure, if you want to help, do that." But like that, from my perspective, that didn't appear to be your intention at all.
No.
Your intention was just to be like, "Hey, I got to rethink things."
I got to back up. So
And then
recover.
so then other people were like, "No, we can't lose you. You're an asset. How can we help?" And then other people were like, "Damn you for asking for help, Greg." And I'm like,
you can't win.
Sometimes the internet confounds me.
Right.
So, yeah, thank God for the tube sites, though.
So it makes the internet worth it. No.
I wish that there were a camera here. You should see what Greg just did with his hand. So that was running with the internet, number one. Were there any lasting effects from that?
No.
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 You have a fairly large following, don't you?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Ashley follows me. She likes all my posts. I think she's my biggest fan.
But yeah, I think people see, other than After Dark, they don't have a choice of who to go to build shows, to get their band out there in this area. So they're like, crap, if Greg goes away, we have nothing.
Right.
We're going to have to start putting up the money, and we don't have that money.
Right.
So I think that's what they saw. But of course there's always those 5 to 10 people who are hate.
Right.
Because they just want to be like that.
You introduced me to the fine folks at Stamps, and I know All Western New York does shows at Stamps on a relatively regular basis.
It's one of my jobs.
And they are wonderful people. But I was in a riot because of you. I'm not sure if I've told you this story. The first show, so we're going back about 6 months ago or so. The bouncer at Stamps got bounced.
Yes.
And they needed someone else, and Greg said, "Hey, do you know anybody that can help out?" And at the time, I was a glutton for punishment or something, and I said, "You know what, I'll help if I can." And then, a couple days later, Greg texts me and says, "What are you doing this weekend?" And I'm like, "I'm guessing I'm bouncing at Stamps." So I go, and it's wonderful. Everything is great. I like the bartender. It's a nice venue. I like the sound guy, Chuck. He's pretty awesome. But, this was a birthday party or something. And there was way too much to drink. And suddenly, dude punched this other dude. And then, there's punching, and, everybody's, a mosh pit that's not a mosh pit. It's just people pushing each other, basically. And so we ended up, ushering everybody outside. Literally cleared the bar. I had left my phone on the table near the door.
Yep.
So that I could attend to the riot. When I got back, my phone was gone. It was a very interesting experience. Now, every other time that I've worked at Stamps, it's been much better than that.
Right.
But I didn't like you very much that day.
And that's why we always have a couple people on. Everything we learned.
Yeah. But so
that was the early.
That was an interesting experience. Now, you've tried to do a bunch of things at Stamps. Some of them seem like they've taken, some of them didn't. I know you wanted to do a trivia night, which I think is a brilliant idea, but it seemed like that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Why not?
And if we can get the main thing, with the trivia or an open mic, is getting somebody that can host it and really push it and build it, which we didn't quite have. We were trying to just start some stuff off ourselves just to get people to kind of take it over.
Right.
Just because we have way too many things that we try to do. But one way to get stuff going is to start it.
Right.
And be like, here's something, roll with it. So the open mic started off, and then somebody else took it. The trivia night, nobody else seemed to take.
Gotcha.
So we're still open to it, you know?
Yeah, I like the idea. I know other bars do it, and I know other bars do it well. But I noticed that it hadn't really taken off at Stamps. And then there was going to be a poker night, but that didn't work because people wanted to gamble. And you can't.
And we weren't really getting people to show up for it,
Right.
so we didn't really keep it going.
So, yeah. So I think poker night ended up moving into, like, somebody's basement or something. So you have your music job. You have your other job.
Yes.
You have your concerts.
Yes.
You help to refurbish Stamps, and
I do their booking, calendar, advertisement,
right,
scheduling all security, sound and stuff.
right. When do you sleep?
I also play in 2 bands.
I forgot. I legit forgot that Greg is in 2 bands. One of which is a really cool industrial band, and the other of which I don't know what the hell that band is.
Yes.
But it's a lot of fun.
No one does.
We gave you dum-dums.
Yes. I'm looking at the poster from the show that we had you on because you were at our anniversary party not quite a year ago.
Yeah.
When All West New York Radio went to 11.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys played that show, and that was
reference is too old for me.
I had no idea what to expect, but it was not that. But we were thrilled to have you there. So, and then of course the industrial. Is it industrial? It's industrial-ish.
Ish.
Yeah. Band is
rock.
very cool. I
Yeah.
saw you guys. I've seen you guys play a couple times. One of the times being opening for Pig. So that was cool. And then you opened Digital Afterlife opened a show at Rapids.
No, not digital. That was optic.
It was Optic
Yes, I'm sorry.
for Fozzie.
Right. And that's the part that still didn't make sense in my head because in my mind Optic Oppression is an industrial-ish band, and it didn't seem like it fit in with that gig. How'd that go over?
It was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, everyone was into it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I've never seen Fozzy. To me, Chris Jericho's a wrestler.
Yeah.
So,
He put on a really good show, too.
speaking of wrestling,
And I feel like Gemini Syndrome was like right before them, and
Right.
they more fit with us, too.
gotcha. So
You
it was
know?
like a blending.
Yeah.
Like all right.
And they were great, awesome.
And then the Stir was on it, and the Stir just confused us. Like the Stir is like a jam band, indie rock type thing that just
They're
didn't
good.
fit on the bill. They're very good, but
Right.
it was like, how did you get this tour?
I feel like they're getting better and better shows all the time.
Rapids?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We All Western New York had an arrangement with Rapids. We provided them advertising, and they would throw us some tickets, which we would use as giveaways and stuff. And the last few show announcement that he's had, I haven't even bothered asking, because it's going to sell out immediately.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't need advertising for this show. So, Mark, if you're listening, go back to booking lesser shows so that we can do the advertising trade, because it was
Book Optic again.
yeah. But I mean, Dropkick Murphys.
Yep.
What a phenomenal band to play at a venue like that.
Maryland sold out.
Maryland, OLP.
Yeah.
I don't dislike OLP, but I know they have a huge following locally.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's a real coup for them to be able to get an act like that. There was another one that I don't remember what it was.
I know they just announced.
But I feel like each show announcement is slightly bigger than the last one.
They just announced a country artist, which I was confused about, like Chase something today, and I was like, who is this? But like everybody's like, oh my god, this is amazing. I'm like,
I'm confused they're doing the Girls' Night Out.
oh yeah, Girls Night Out sold out.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
Huh. Yeah, I feel like a lot of their shows are selling out, which is awesome.
People should go up the road to Evening Star too. Go to some of their shows.
I do go to. In fact, actually, Evening Star is probably one of the venues that I go to more than most others, just because of proximity. Because it's relatively close, the shows are inexpensive, the beer's cold.
It's cheap too.
It is cheap.
Yeah. Great drink prices.
Yeah. And then I think the venue that I go to the most is actually probably Stamps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just because Joe keeps booking shows there.
Yeah.
So, which I mean, I don't mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's good.
Stamps has shows like every Thursday through Sunday at least, now through August.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The rest will be booked later on, but yeah.
Good for them. Awesome. We talked about this a little bit before we went on. You had a show that you were going to do there that, caused another internet whirlwind. Do you want to address that?
I don't know.
Would you address that?
I don't know. I broke the internet one day.
You did. And it's another. It's another.
Blew.
And I was.
It's
at
another
work
one of
all
those.
day,
It's
and I was
another
like,
one of
I
those
can't
instances
do
where
anything.
like Greg announces a show, and I'm like, I have no idea who this band is. So I don't care. And next thing I know, like, there were people circling your house with pitchforks.
Pretty much.
And they were on fire. And
It was like,
and then it just kind of went away, or at least that's the way it looked. Probably lingered a little bit longer for you, right?
I got some more messages, but
Yeah.
because apparently Buffalo does not want blood on the dance floor.
I'm fine with there not being blood on the dance floor personally. But I wasn't familiar with the band. And I wasn't familiar with the accusations. And it sounded to me as though you had been familiar with the accusations, but that's all they were to you were accusations.
Right.
And so you're like, I'm not going to not book someone because they were accused of something. Which personally, I get that entirely. I think a lot of us have been accused of. I've been accused of horrible things that I didn't do. If I couldn't do things because of what I was accused of, then I would probably never leave this room. But
Like how deep it went, I didn't know.
Yeah. And
But I knew the idea going into it.
and so one of the things that I got from this thread was basically that you had sold children into prostitution so that you could bring this band.
No.
Are you
Apparently
sure?
that's what people said.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I got out of it was like, because you're money hungry,
I don't have any money.
which I thought was funny. Because getting back to the other post about you needing money, but then suddenly, just a couple months later, you were like filthy rich, bringing in child molesters and like serving up our children on platters, all so that you could get $20 or something. I don't even know.
That would have been nice.
Did you learn anything from that?
I didn't even get $20.
Did you learn anything from the experience?
The internet is scary.
the internet is a dangerous place.
All right. Have you changed how you book shows since then? Have you been more diligent? Was there a process before, and has that changed since?
I mean, we get offered a band. We look into like if it would work, if it's worth it, and if it is, and we can make the date work, we go through with it. It's kind of the idea.
Right.
I mean, we're not going to try anything from Blood on the Dance Floor, and if there's something similar to that, we'll test the waters first.
Right.
It's kind of where it's at. But I've done stuff with people with accusations or things that have happened in their past, and it works out fine.
Right.
We have had Aaron Carter quite a few times. He's a great performer, a great person to work with, and the shows do great.
Right.
So it's hard to know what is okay and what's not in the community.
Well, and sometimes it just depends on like,
And
what one person throws a stone, and then suddenly everyone's like, I like throwing stones.
How many
and
people
it's
do
not
that?
okay,
and
I'll
next thing
act.
you know, you're getting stoned, and not in the good way.
And if it's not okay, I'll act and respond.
Right.
And we took the show down right away.
Some people didn't feel like that was a good enough response. I thought it was, from an outsider's point of view, I'm sure that this was very anxiety-inducing for you. But from an outsider's point of view, I found it very interesting that they were like, Greg, you can't have this band. They're the worst band ever. Oh, my God, what are you thinking? And so you said, due to public outcry, I'm not going to have the band. And then they go, well, yeah, but you just did it because we asked you not to. That's exactly why I did it. Why is this a problem suddenly? Like, I used to be married. It was a wonderful experience.
Nobody saw this facial expression.
Yeah.
If only we had cameras.
So she would go to work, and she would go, hey, while I'm out, can you do X? And so I would do X. And then she would come home and be like, oh, the only reason you did it is because I asked you to. That's exactly why I did it. Why is that a bad thing? I don't know. It was I felt your pain. I don't know.
Oh.
All right, we are just about out of time.
Okay.
Which sucks. Was there something you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to?
Yeah. Go to ftmpevents.com.
There you go. Boom.
Coming up.
Ashley, what's your favorite sandwich?
My favorite sandwich?
Yes.
Is cheeseburger a sandwich?
Cheeseburger's a sandwich? What do you like on your cheeseburger?
I'm just simple. Ketchup, mustard, pickles.
All right.
Yeah. No onions, I know that.
No onions. No onions.
Greg, if you were a tree, what color would you be?
Purple.
Okay. I think that's reasonable. Favorite band ever?
With like black leaves.
Favorite band ever?
Brand new.
Best concert you've ever been to?
There was... Warped Tour is always fantastic, but one that stands out to me...
Tour?
Warped Tours. There was one Edge Fest where they had stages set up on both sides, and they had like 30... They had Yellow Card, Buck Cherry, Speaker Fire, Anne Berlin, I believe, Taking Back Sunday, Matchbook Romance, and it was just a really good lineup of people I was really into.
Cool. Same question.
I've been to probably hundreds of concerts, but the one that stood out for me is I went to see A Day to Remember, Bring Me the Horizon, Chiodos, and Motionless in White in Albany. And they just put on a great show altogether, but they decided for this specific tour to branch out and do like a visual to their show, and it worked so well. So
Cool.
I take mine back, though. The best one was It's a Fires Fights farewell show at the Lofts.
The Lofts.
We were doing a few shows there when I was part of Inside a Riot. We'd bring our own sound. It was BYOB.
The Lofts
it was
near
ridiculous.
Upstate?
Sort of. It's like the 346 Lofts or something. They're not doing any events anymore. But they were letting us do some like their rec center, and it was packed and it was ridiculous, and it was a good time.
Cool.
Fire alarm went off halfway through. Everyone had to go outside and then come back in.
Favorite ride at Darien Lake?
We actually got season passes this year.
Yeah.
So we haven't done that in a long
I
time.
used to get season passes every year. I haven't in for like forever.
Mindy Eraser in the front seat. It's such a different experience when you're in the front because you can see.
I've never been on the Mind Eraser.
I'm trying to... Which one? Does the Mind Eraser the one that does this?
That's the one where you're like...
Your feet dangle?
Your feet dangle.
Right.
And you do a bunch of loops.
Yeah,
over
all
the
right.
water.
Yeah, I did that.
It's a good time.
I ended up with a headache.
I've never been on that ride.
No,
We're doing it.
Okay.
all right. Season passes to Darien Lake's a great deal.
Yeah.
So
I've
I'm
had
looking
that
at
last
season.
time.
I'm looking at season tickets to Shays
Oh.
because Shays just announced their 2018 lineup, 2018-2019 lineup, and it all looks pretty good. And they had announced last year that in this coming year, Hamilton was going to be here, and I love Hamilton the musical. But I'm fairly certain that the only way you're going to get tickets to Hamilton the musical is if you have seasons.
Passes.
So I'm seriously considering getting season tickets to Shays, largely so that I can see Hamilton. But also, it's 6 shows. It's about $300. It's about $50 a show. Really isn't a bad deal at all.
Oh, yeah.
But I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of aftermarket tickets for sale for every show but Hamilton. Because I think a lot of people are going to do what I'm doing, or considering doing, which is getting season tickets so that you can see Hamilton, but might not be interested in seeing Miss Saigon, for example, which I am interested in seeing. But another one on the bill is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
Ooh.
which, you know, I love because Johnny Depp's not in it. I don't like Johnny Depp.
I like Johnny Depp.
I used to like Johnny Depp.
I still enjoy him.
I don't know. I would like Johnny Depp a little more if he wasn't the same character all the time.
Right.
He's a better
That's
looking.
One thing that threw me off in Alice in Wonderland because he sounded like Jack Sparrow.
Right. Yeah.
He's very one tone.
But
Right.
I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was great in Edward Scissorhands. That's about it.
Yeah.
Come on, pirates.
I've never seen the Pirates.
Oh, jeez.
You've never seen any of the 5 Pirates movies,
No.
despite the fact that one of them was partially filmed here.
We booked young Jack Sparrow,
And
and you haven't seen him?
no. I've seen clips on YouTube and stuff, but it doesn't hold my attention, so I've never bothered to sit and watch them.
We had Anthony de la Torre,
Yes.
which is the young Jack Sparrow in one of the new Pirates movies.
I can't remember, but he was the singer for a very short period of time for The Fell.
Featuring Billy Sheehan. We had over at Evening Star. And he has a voice. He
Yeah.
can sing.
He's a great singer,
All right.
but he decided to stick with acting.
Cool.
As a tidbit.
These are the things that people want to know. So, I think that's about it.
Okay.
I have like a million more questions that I could ask you, but we're like way over on time. So I'm just going to kind of wrap things up. But I really appreciate you guys coming in.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for having us.
You're the first guest that I've had in the studio. Now, the Nick and Dan show, they've been filming here because they film.
Yep.
Yeah.
They've been filming here for, basically they were using this space before I was. Because I got the keys on like a Thursday, and they do Thursday filmings.
Yep.
So I wasn't even fully in yet, and they're already in here. So they popped the cherry, so to speak. And they're in here every Thursday and Sunday. And this past Sunday, this past Sunday was tame. The previous Sunday, I ended up here, and there's
That's
just
how
a
you
room
posted about
full
it,
of
Yeah.
there were like 20 people in here. And I'm like, okay then. Cool.
We're having
Good
a
for
party.
you. Yeah, we're having a party. So anyway, thank you so much for being my first guest to the brand new and improved, and we're actually going to air it. Here's the thing on All West New York Radio.
Woot.
Greg, one more time, that website.
FTMPevents.com.
All right.
StampsTheBuyer.com. EvenStarConcertHall.com.
We did them all.
All right. Guys, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Surely you've heard of a bubble, the housing bubble, the .com bubble. It refers to a falsely inflated price for something which will eventually crash. But did you know about the first bubble? The year was 1636, and people really liked flowers. Not just any flowers, though. Tulips. People really liked tulips. Here's the thing. During the so-called tulip mania, contract prices for some bulbs of the recently introduced and very fashionable tulip reached extremely high levels and then dramatically collapsed in February 1637. It was the first reasonably well-documented asset bubble in history, and until now is referred to as the prime example of a market folly. The price of tulips shot up nearly 50 times their value in just 3 months, and fell back to their original price within 3 months of their high. And while technology has advanced greatly over the course of the past 400 years, human psychology has remained the same. Some observers think the rally around the cryptocurrency Bitcoin might replace tulip mania as a reference for a badly overinflated asset bubble prone to burst at any moment. Bitcoin shot up from $367 2 years ago to nearly $20,000, then fell back to $11,000 before climbing back up again and then back down. As of the production of this video, it's about $9,000. Not bad for a $367 investment just 24 months ago. Sadly, I invested all my money in Betamax players and Netscape. What do you think? Is Bitcoin for real or just a fantasy? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, today, the role of Scott Leffler will be played by Sam Adams.
And we're back. Welcome to Here's the Thing. Welcome back to Here's the Thing. We're closing the show out. But if you're just tuning in, hey, glad to have you. If you missed part of the show, you can catch it on podcast. I'll get it on the podcast later on allwesternyorkradio.com and allwesternyorknews.com and on all of our podcast venues, including Google Play. I'm trying to remember where the hell we put all the podcasts. It's out there. Oh, and of course the app, the All Western New York News and Radio app, which is available for Android, and you should download it. You should have it on your phone, because when we do breaking news, and we do breaking news sometimes, it's going to be there. And we're going to have the ability to hopefully do more breaking news now that I've got somebody else doing some of the other stuff. All in all, things are wonderful. I'm so excited about life. You know who's not excited about life? This poor woman. Well, I can't say she's yeah. So this elderly woman got attacked by a seagull. So there's a war, right? We've talked about it before, and we're going to continue to talk about it until everybody understands. So this story was actually just published yesterday, all right, in the Gazette, which is it's the Blackpool Gazette from Blackpool, England. Headline: They are monsters. Grand given black eye by seagull on the attack. An elderly woman in a mobility scooter had to fight off a vicious seagull after it swooped down on her head. How horrible. Pensioners plea for warning signs after being attacked by gulls. So this woman's name is Marjorie Dyson. She's 82 years old, and she was shopping in the Cleveleys, wherever the hell that is. It's not Cleveland because it's in the UK. Lady Laura Moore, where's the Cleveleys? Maybe you were there. Maybe you paid these birds to attack this poor woman. How rude of you. Anyway, so she was outside the TSB Bank on Victoria Road West when the bird attacked last Friday afternoon. She suffered a bruised eye and swelling to her face. She said it was a painful experience. It dived into my face and nearly had my glasses off. I had to fight it with my arm. Then there's a picture of this woman, this poor elderly woman, who really just looks like she wants to be home watching Oprah or something. She's like on her little mobility scooter, which is like all yellow, and like she's got like this bright orange jacket on. So the bird obviously saw her, and it purposely like picked her on. He's like, hey, there's an old lady that I can attack. So the woman says, I called in at the doctor's. I was shook up. My cheek was swollen. I had a bit of a black eye. The Grandma of Two has now pleaded with people not to feed the seagulls. Ladies and gentlemen, do not feed the birds. It's a war. Why are you feeding the enemy? She believes the bird may have attacked her because it mistook the yellow flowers she was carrying in her scooter basket for food. She said people are not supposed to feed them, but when the day trippers come in, they feed them fish and chips on the prom. I want fish and chips on the prom. Did you go to the prom? I went to the prom. Tell me about your prom stories. Tweet me at Scott Leffler. And that's what makes them so brave. When people are eating, they come right down and snatch it out of your hands. It's just one of those things, but I'm frightened to leave the house now. I don't go out a lot. I just potter around the bungalow. I think that's a great name for a band. All right, so we're potter around the bungalow, and we're going to rock your face off. Somebody make that band, Potter Around the Bungalow. I want to go see them in concert in the next month. Wire Council last year held a public consultation on proposals to make feeding seagulls an offense, punishable by £100 fine. Marjorie said, I think it's a very good idea. I think it should be more than £100, to be honest. Years ago, when I was a child, we always came to Blackpool and the Cleveleys and saw the seagulls, but you weren't scared of them. Now they seem bigger and bigger every year. They're like monsters. The results of the consultation have not yet been released. A Wire Council spokesperson said, following our consultation last year, we will be producing a report. Oh, thank God. Politicians produce a report for cabinet approval with the proposal to introduce a public space protection order on feeding seagulls in a public place in Fleetwood, Thornton, Cleveleys, and Knott End. The system would rely on members of the public in naming and shaming offenders. Yes, do that. The Twitter account. These people fed birds, and how horrible it is. Anyway, Wire residents can report seagull attacks by visiting the council website, www.wire.gov.uk/info. So wild birds, including seagulls, are protected under the Wildlife Countryside Act of 1981. It's illegal to hurt seagulls, but I don't understand why. Because they're seagulls. They are our sworn enemy. They're there to attack you. They attack little old ladies. How can we have this? We can't. It's wrong in all the ways possible. It's 100% and completely wrong. And holy cow, I'm out of time. But thanks for tuning in. If you want to let me know your thoughts, shoot me a tweet at Scott Leffler. If you want to send me hate mail, send it to scott.leffler@allwnyradio.com. Or if you want to mail me a letter, mail it to Scott Leffler, care of All WNY Radio, P.O. Box 716, Buffalo, New York, 142. 207. Thank you, ladies, gents, children of all ages, for tuning in. I'll be back next week with Tom Brogdon. Bye.